All right, and we're back here on another Couch Coach Live here under the lights here at Couch Coach Live on a Wednesday night. We got a special guest in the building. What's going on, Jordan?
Not much. Thanks again for having me. It's been a while.
It's been a while, and it was definitely long overdue. So and obviously we try to get you in the happiest moments of your Denver Bronco fandom. So tonight was a perfect night, as well, and all and also the goat leaving as well, so that's kind of a good thing too.
Yeah. I
He's
blame
been
you, coach.
yeah,
I blame you.
we'll definitely talk about the retirement of Tom Brady, and like you said, rightfully so. What's going on, Maui?
I'm chilling, man. I will say this, man. This was a couple years ago, the NBA. I think it was like 2019 going into 20. I felt like the NBA was changing. I was like, man, I'm really happy watching all NBA games. Like everything this seemed competitive, you know? And I felt like this season, man, was probably one of the best football seasons I've seen in a long time. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that. I mean,
You know,
lots of teams were in the playoffs until the
right,
last week. I mean, it made for some
right.
exciting matchups.
And then so shout out to the NFL from everything from what they did with Darvin Ham to man, even just like it was so many teams by November you didn't even think was gonna make it, and then they just start winning, you know.
Yeah,
So just yeah, man, I'm just excited.
yeah. And we got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We'll
Yeah,
talk about Tom Brady's retirement
man,
officially, I guess. I
right.
feel like we're like deja vu. If we had a show on February the 1st, it probably would have been the leading topic on that as well. Um, Also, and it's funny, we watch you well, Jordan, and we don't. I know last year we were talking about the NFL coaching carousel, and now it kind of ratcheted up this within the last 48 hours. We'll talk about the Sean Payton going to George's beloved Denver Broncos. D'Amico Ryans, the prodigal son, goes back to Houston. Kellen Moore, we'll talk about him as
Yeah.
well. And we'll talk about the Pro Bowl games, and a Baltimore quarterback did make the Pro Bowl, but it's not who you think it is. We'll talk about that, and then we'll do a little bit of a small deep dive on Super Bowl 57, getting you prepared for next week. So, with that said, we'll be right back. We'll kick that intro. We'll catch you guys on the other side of the intro. All right, and we're back here
Ah,
on Couch Coach Live. Definitely huge shout out to the good folks at Goalie. Head over to Goalie. Use our promo code Couch Coach at checkout to get yourself 10% off at checkout. So we are back at it. So Tom Brady. So obviously the news broke this morning. Well, he broke the news. He didn't have to worry about a Schefter bomb in a sense, where he took the IG and pretty much stated that he was going to retire. Obviously, Tom Brady, 23-year career, 7-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Super Bowl MVP, 3-time NFL MVP, 15-time Pro Bowler, 251 wins, 89,214 passing yards, and 649 passing touchdowns.
mm.
I'll go with our guest, Jordan. Your thoughts on the retirement, and also, is there a favorite moment that you have of Tom Brady?
There is a favorite moment, and I will get there to a minute. But you look at Tom Brady, like you said, 7 Super Bowl rings. I honestly was looking at him after they had lost to the Dallas Cowboys, going, this has to be it. But you look at it, he was 35 of 66 passing for 351 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he was picked off one time. When he left, I was like, there's gotta be a chance that he's going to retire. And then you get the news
Mhm.
today, but is he really retired? I think this is it for him, but he did
Yeah.
say it last year at this state.
Right.
As for my favorite Tom Brady moments, I was actually thinking about this today, and I have to go back to the divisional round of 2006, Denver Broncos versus the New England Patriots. That it was an exciting one for Denver. That was the first win in the playoffs for the Denver Broncos since Elway retired. And I'll never forget Champ Bailey picking Tom Brady off the end zone. I'm sitting there cheering. I was actually lucky enough to be at the game cheering. And Champ Bailey, got smacked by the tight end. I was wondering, why isn't it a touchdown? Well, then you figure out that, he didn't score. But that actually ended Tom Brady's reign of being perfect in the playoffs. So I have to go with that one. Other than that, I mean, you go, if it's just New England moment, you got to go back to that Super Bowl against Atlanta. Down by that much, I thought it was over. Brought him back. Of course, there were a couple, weird coaching decisions by Kyle Shanahan. But in the end, I mean, you can't come back from 28-3 and still win a Super Bowl. Pretty impressive.
Sure. Maui, your thoughts on Tom Brady?
I just feel like Tom Brady was a class act. Even when he got accused of some stuff, he didn't tell anybody. He's never told really his side of the story. He just took it on the chin, and then he win the Super Bowl that year.
Yes, I believe.
You know what I mean?
Flakegate, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
it's just so much you could say about him, man. Like, genuinely, these are moments. We already know his numbers, but his first game back to New England and how everybody was a certain way, but then how once they got past one point, Bill Belichick runs out, blah, blah, blah. Then he was able to literally, you could see him say hi to security, everybody, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, I remember, I'm a Steeler, so I remember when Harrison went there, he was like, man, his locker was right by me. He said it sucked because I wanted to hate him so much. But he said, man, genuinely, it was what it was. My favorite, and I'm gonna give it to Coach. My favorite was that year he got Randy Moss and they went undefeated but didn't win the Super Bowl. That's when I saw a different side of him, because before that, to me, he was always just a boring quarterback. Like, he was kind of like what people say about Floyd Mayweather, where he just was, you give him a minute or a minute 30, he'll come and he's down 6 or down 3. He's coming right down the field on you. You know what I mean? But that one, I was like, yo, he's different. Like, he's going down the field. He had Randy Moss and he was just going at it. Then that year when they got the 2 tight ends, like, you know what I'm saying? It's so many you can count. There's not a dull moment. You know what I mean? And I do think this is it though, because he almost looked like somebody had a strap to him. Like, man, you need to, you know what I mean? And that it was a different emotion. It's that crying, and like it's that crying on the inside where you really have to let it go. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's just time. And I think seeing Tom Brady talk, like, it's time for him to really spend time with his children. You know what I mean? Like, no offense, you know what I mean? I know it's his life, but I think that if anything, it's especially going through a divorce. You know what I mean? It's really time for him to come home and be there for his children. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, Tom Brady, he went toe to toe with Father Time and almost beat Father Time, and like you said, and this was, this one felt finality. It felt like emotions and sad, because obviously you read the essay, you can read something, and he conveyed it very well in the essay, but seeing him and kind of the emotion that he had, that just lets you know it's over. Mm-hmm. But one of my favorite moments is when, because it was in 2014, so Washington, he used to have a training camp here in Richmond, and Tom Brady, they had a dual practice, and I swear Tom Brady, like, he tore us apart. Like, it just felt like, I swear, I think in that little 30-minute practice, he probably had 100% completion rate. Like, he was just throwing darts. It's like it was unreal, like what Tom Brady was doing out there. And it's like, and to think to yourself, he was like 37, 38 years old then.
Right.
And so to think, wow, like we sitting here like 9 years later, like, yeah, this man just retired. It's unreal to me. But yeah.
That is crazy to think about that. You know, he was only 38 years old 9 years ago.
Right. Well, yeah, it was because he think of 04. So he was like 37. So and that's crazy. That's crazy. And we thought that's when the time when everybody was like the Jimmy Garoppolo thing and then come think about it, he almost outlived Jimmy G.
I know.
In a strange way.
He's actually outlived some of his backups too, if you really think about it.
Yeah, because Kevin, a lot of guys in coaching, like Kevin, I didn't even know Kevin O'Connor was his backup. I was like, what?
I didn't realize that either.
O'Connor was like 39. I mean, like 40. That's crazy.
Let me ask you a question. When he got hurt, right? That one time he got hurt. Do you think that time off and him coming back actually might have helped him?
Yeah, I really do, because obviously tearing your ACL is not the greatest thing, but he came back from it more like a champion. I look at it like Peyton Manning. Manning took a year off with the neck surgery, and we got 3 more years out of him, or 4 years, and it's the same with Tom Brady. We got how many more? We got 10 more years out of him. I mean, I definitely do think that time off definitely helped Brady for sure.
Right.
Because he got hurt in that first, one of the first possession of that first game.
Yeah, and then they made a rule about how you can't go after quarterback's legs because of him.
Right.
Like the tuck rule, but I digress.
Hey, I'm surprised no one said that was their favorite moment.
Yeah.
That was an interesting.
You know why?
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry. You know why? Because that was old Tom. Like you don't even remember that time anymore. You know what I mean? Like you remember, like what was that? That was before 2012, right?
Yeah, that was 2001.
Yeah, one.
Two? It's like it's a different time. It was a different Tom Brady after that. You know what I mean?
And I still say that was a fumble, but
I know, right?
We know it was a fumble.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for the refs.
Exactly. That was a Michigan on Michigan crime. Shout out to Charles Woodson.
Have you guys seen the 30 for 30 with Charles Woodson? Woodson just saying that was still a fumble. He's still giving him crap
to this day. What, 20, almost 22 years later, or 21 years later? Crazy.
Yeah, they don't know how to let thing go. But I will say this: watching Brady this year, you could tell he really didn't want to get like that interception in the playoff game where they could have got a field goal. Why would he throw that pass? That is things I think like that where okay, it's time to go. Because he you know what I mean? Like I was like, why would he throw that? Tom Brady know he shouldn't throw that ball. That's Purdy know not to throw that ball. Like why would you do it? You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, man. Shout out to Tom Brady. Like I said, I think this is for real.
Yeah, $375 million.
Yeah,
and he gets to go to the Fox booth to be the #1 guy.
I know. And poor Greg Olsen. and Greg Olsen, that's my Club 1984 guy. We'll talk about a 1984 guy as well, but I poor Greg because Greg deserves it, and I hate that we had to be this kind of because the Super Bowl. Because obviously, with the Super Bowl. Fox is covering it, and we thinking that's too big of a game for him and Burkhardt. But but then it's Greg Olsen is good though. I'm why is my mind going there with that? Like he's good, but he's not. You know what I mean? Like I think it's so unfair for Greg Olsen.
So they're gonna be together?
Nah.
No, they got rid of Greg Olsen. That's what you're saying?
No, he's gonna be demoted probably to the second team. He'll probably be with Pam Oliver and them.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. But the question is we don't know how good Tom Brady's going to be as an announcer. We know Greg Olsen is.
Right.
I know, and that's where I'm like, and then it's almost like how crazy is that? Greg Olsen is covering the Super Bowl, and then he's going to get demoted to the B team.
I know.
Man, he got Rachel Nichols.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, essentially, right. I mean, you're right. That is a great parallel.
That's great.
Like, seriously, that's what's going to happen. Yeah,
Tom Brady is the GOAT. You know what I mean?
But like you said, we don't really know how he's going to be.
I will say, if he's a Tony Romo guy type of good, I'll be happy because I was never a fan of Tony Romo until he got into the booth and he knows the game. I'm just afraid Tom Brady won't be up to that level.
I think, and maybe that, you know what, maybe in due time, because he's been paid a lot of money.
That's
But
true.
he did on the shop. He was speaking how he wanted to. He said he's very intrigued on people that could just come right off the mind. He always thinks before he speaks. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a new challenge for him, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing because it seemed like when he's challenged, he likes to. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He likes to be challenged, and
Yeah,
in some type of way.
I know, man. I feel bad for my boy Greg though. I'm serious, man, because he really like he's not gonna be calling the game of the week, and I'm like, bro, like it's crazy. Like, I mean, we knew this was gonna happen, but it's just like I now seeing that kind of the harsh reality of it. Like we knew this time was gonna come, and with that, but yeah, that's gonna suck.
Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, it is what it is. You can't do anything about it.
He might not even. Tom might didn't. You say 375 million?
Yeah. And I misquote. Greg is actually he 85 guy. I don't know why I thought he was 84, but he 85. But yeah. So we got some. And so we go into a little bit of the coaching carousel it is in the National Football League. We'll start with the Denver Broncos. Of course, obviously, Sean Payton was hired as the Denver Broncos head coach. In that, the Broncos will give the Saints their 2023 first round pick, pretty much Bradley Chubb, and a 2024 second round pick. Payton is 152 and 89 in 15 seasons with the Saints, and so. Jordan, your thoughts on Sean Payton going to Denver?
This was honestly my first choice. It was either going to be him or Harbaugh. I know there were reports that I'm still surprised that they went after Jim Caldwell, David Shaw, Raheem Morris, and Ejiro Evero was our defensive coordinator. I thought he would be good, but they're like, oh, forget it. We'll just try to go after Harbaugh and then Sean Payton. Sean Payton was my first choice. Like you just laid out what his record is, 152 and 89. What I also like about this hire is if you look at the last three hires for the Broncos, Vance Joseph, Vic Fangio, and of course Nathaniel Hackett, who I was the last time I was on the show talking about how excited I was for him. They were all first-time head coaches. Guess what? Sean Payton is a veteran coach, and I know that the Walton Penner Group, who owns the Denver Broncos, wanted to go after a veteran head coach. They really wanted this to say, you know what, we know how good Sean Payton is. We're going to give him all the money in the world. I don't know what his contract is, but I'm very ecstatic. It just puts the Broncos back in the conversation of at least competing in the AFC West. Of course, I thought with Russell Wilson, we'd more compete in, hey, it would be playoffs. I even told Couch Coach, we're going to be in the playoffs. Yeah, I was kind of wrong about that. But I think with Sean Payton doing a veteran, staff, this is great. And I've heard that maybe Vic Fangio may come with him. Whether or not that's true or not, because the Miami Dolphins thing has kind of fallen apart. But either way, though, I'm ecstatic for Sean Payton. But then again, I was ecstatic for Russell Wilson, so I'm going to try to limit my excitement.
What you got, man? Your thoughts?
Oh, I'm about to get you, bro. No, I'm just kidding. Congratulations. But what I will say this, I remember last year when you got Russ, you was, and we all were because we was, but because we was like, man, that's what's up. All you needed was a quarterback. Mm-hmm. That's all we was talking about. You didn't need a quarterback. So you got Russell Wilson, but man, did all his skeletons and demons come out. You know what I mean? From Tuckahoe. You know what I mean? Like when we kept making that joke and this and that. Like, but so I heard today, and I really would like to have your take on it. I heard that the job is not a very popular job to a lot of the guys. That's why everybody was turning it down. They said it was even some more coaches that was like, nah, I'm good. And they said they said Sean Payton, I think they offered him before. Mm-hmm. And he turned it down. And so he came this time and they said, nobody used. I thought you would. I said that. I said, when I saw you, I said, cool, he may know what the contract is. But you saying you don't know what the contract is. So they probably had to pay him a lot of money.
Well, he was offered what? He wanted 20 to 25 million. As for your point, Maui. Right. Yeah, it was not a very high priority job. Yeah, it's one of 32 in the NFL. But I think the problem is you also have new ownership group. who
Right.
doesn't have the culture winning.
Right.
And we don't know what Russell Wilson really has left. And
Right.
I'm going to tell you this. I think the biggest problem in Denver is really their general manager, George Patton, because what has he done? He hasn't done that great of a job. Like Couch Coach said, we got rid of a lot of draft picks just to get Sean Payton. We got rid of a lot of draft picks, last year to get Russell Wilson.
Right.
So how do you build a team? That's the one main question I have, especially with, I think our first pick is in the third round. How are you going to build a team around Russell Wilson? Because we really need offensive line help. I don't know what our salary cap is at, but I will say that the one reason why I think it's not an intriguing job was the fact that you have ownership group and the general manager doesn't know what he's doing.
So before I give it to Coach, I think that I'm hoping success because of Sean Payton. He took the job. I know he probably doesn't want to embarrass himself, but that's a lot. You gave up a lot for Russ, and then you given a lot for Payton, who left the Saints looking like he was exhausted and he may not want to coach anymore, or he needed a break. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's hard to turn down money. Remember the Knicks and Phil Jackson?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to turn down that money. So I hope it work out. If it don't, man, they just need to blow it up, and you never know. Like, you know what I mean? But I really do hope it work out. I was looking at his stats and everything, and it looks like, you know what I mean? It should be what's up. What's the first thing you want, though?
Honestly, I just want to build a winning culture. That's what I want.
Right.
I mean, we haven't had that since Super Bowl 50 when Manning retired. In the next year, we went 9-7 with Gary Kubiak, and then he hung it up. I just want to be, even if we go 9-8 next year, which would be a step in the right direction. I just want to win again. But I definitely agree with you. If it doesn't work out, you're going to have to blow it up because Russell Wilson's contract, I don't know what the cap hit is in the next few years, but I know it's lowered if you get rid of him. And if you get rid of him, then what's the plan? So I definitely hope it does work out with Sean Payton, so we don't have to figure out what do we do if it doesn't work out.
Do you think that, that he might need to pull back, take Russ off his pedestal, or you think he should keep him up there? Because it seemed like Russ got an office, all this other stuff, and it makes him look a certain way. Is that a good thing or bad?
It's a bad look for Denver. I mean, you looked at, I think he's more into his image, unfortunately, and Nathaniel Hackett couldn't get him off of that. And hopefully that with Sean Payton being a veteran head coach is saying, hey, Russ, you got to be more of the team, a team leader, than worrying about your image. Forget about the image. Worry about that in the offseason, because he was definitely, you saw the commercials for Subway that came out, and the fact that he has his own office in the front, actually in the Broncos facility, which is a bad look. So hopefully Sean Payton says, you know what, you got to be more a part of the team than your own brand.
Okay. Word.
And I think he's going to clean it up. And I think for him to take that job, because I know the biggest thing was the ownership. So I think that's a great key for you, Jordan, as far as the Walton Group. That lets me know, hey, there's stability there, because obviously that was one of the sticking points. And I think with Russell Wilson, he knows, because like you said, that's probably a lot of people kind of scared away from because of that contract, and pretty much knowing that essentially he might be here, but he might last longer than I would if I was a prospective candidate for this job. So I look at it from that standpoint, but I think he can fix this situation. Obviously, people got to really understand. Look what he did in New Orleans. People, especially you talking about instability. They make Denver look world class compared to how the Saints were circa 2005. So, and I think he does have that ability, and I think he can. And I think he can definitely help. Russell Wilson, and that's another one where Drew Brees. Everybody look at Drew Brees. Oh yeah, he's this Hall of Fame player. At once upon a time, he had to score the most yards in the NFL season. In his career, all time passing. But obviously, Tom Brady's passed him. But once upon a time, he had that record. But honestly, that success came from the tutelage of a Sean Payton. Not to say that Russell Wilson's gonna be this prolific guy, but he could definitely help fix what's going on with Russell Wilson. And then this division. I mean, you got to think about it. This is going to work out well for them because you think about now you have and we'll talk about the other kind of wheel of this carousel momentarily, but you look at like Kansas City, they're in the Super Bowl. You got the Chargers. Who knows what the Raiders going to get as far as this quarterback and how their offense is going to be, but this is a situation. I think if he get Russell, because get Russ doing his thing, and then coupled with that running game, that's going to definitely help stop those high octane offenses. So I think this is a great hire. This is kind of one of those where you had to get this had to happen. This is kind of one of those where you had to get that marquee name. Like, this is the name that you had to get. And for him to kind of take this job, I think that just speaks volumes to this. And I know it's a money thing, but I think he sees that, there's a value in this job and he can fix this. So I definitely think it's a very positive and great move for him. And this team, we might be talking about this in the preseason, somewhat of a logjam in AFC West again, potentially.
Hopefully I'll have a little bit better to talk about than last year.
Right.
I was so high about
Ooh,
how
you was on one last year. That's why I was like, ooh, when I thought about it. But see, that my thing with with organizations, they got to stop. Like, you was excited for Russ, but then you go and you spend all this money on Peyton, and let's hope that, and I believe it is too. But man, don't just be doing that to get the crowd, all your fans, all excited, and then they go through the whole year, and you're like, man, what the hell? You know what I mean?
That's pretty much what my season was like. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, like seriously, go ahead.
And to add a little cherry on the top of this topic, like you said, and then if he bring back Vic Fangio, that's huge because these are the guys he had. This core group was a part of this under Vic Fangio. So if he comes back, that defense is gonna be lights out once again.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm excited for. It's just a matter of, does Vic Fangio want to come back to Denver? I mean, he knows he's not going to be in charge, and it's a new ownership group, and it is the same general manager that fired you, but at least you're not the head coach. You're helping this team win. I think it would be a great match in heaven. I know before he took the job, I know he said his dream defensive coordinator was Vic Fangio. So we'll have to wait and see if he actually comes to Denver.
If you think it don't work out, they firing a GM next year?
Oh, yeah, I definitely do. I was surprised he was still there this year, to be honest.
So there's still a chance that he may be gone, what you're saying?
Yeah, there might be.
Yeah, because it don't work. Because who will come in and clean that mess if it don't work?
Well, and you look at his moves. I mean, I'm glad he traded Bradley Chubb because we got Sean Payton. But the year before, you traded Von Miller, and even Von Miller said he wanted to come back to Denver. I don't know if he picked up the phone in the last off season, but he basically turned the door on Von Miller, and it was just like, why? This guy is a beast at linebacker. Of course, he got hurt with Buffalo, but some of his moves have just been so perplexing.
When did the new ownership come?
In August is when they were officially owners.
It's been some weird stuff with organizations where they doing, and then I'm talking about in a wild spectrum, is that you be like, okay, why did that happen? Why did that happen? And then all of a sudden you find out, oh, they sold the company. It's some you know what I mean? Like, why would you give up Von Miller? Like, seriously.
If I could go back time, I would love to know why George did that.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, talking about Sean Payton, one of the first, well, not the first, because obviously we had Frank Wright as the head coach of Carolina Panthers, but
another perplexing move.
Yeah, that's rather odd to say the least. I'm really curious how that's going to go down as far as who's going to be that quarterback and kind of how that all's going to work out too. I mean, he's a good coach and all that. It's interesting. But this is another coaching hire that I definitely that came across the pipe this week. DeMeco Ryans is now the new head coach of the Houston Texans. So he's a former 49ers defensive coordinator. Was hired with the Texans. He becomes surprisingly, the sixth head coach in Houston Texans history. Obviously, they've only been around 21 years. So He signs a
Wow.
6-year deal. He's obviously 6-year deal, and also D'Amico Ryans actually was drafted by this team in 2006 and was the defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, right.
In the year that he spent 6 seasons there with the Texans. So, Jordan, your thoughts on D'Amico Ryans going to Houston?
Well, if you look at it on paper, it's a great move for them because of the fact that, he took the 49ers to the number one defense this year, allowing 300.6 yards per game and only gave up 16.3 points per game. I get it from that standpoint because we always talk about defenses win championships. It's a long contract for 6 years. My only questions for Houston, though, is how long are they going to let D'Amico Ryans go there? Because he is, like you said, a former player. But the thing is, I look at their last 2 hires. David Coley, 1 year, 2021, finished 4-13. Of course, Lovie Smith, which I didn't understand that move to have Lovie Smith as the head coach, 3-13-1. I just hope, the Texans, you need at least 3 years to turn, the ship around. You got to let the coach put in his, defense, and that'll allow the organization to get better. But I just hope that the Houston Texans actually allow him to have those, at least 3 years, because you can't fire him year out, a new coach year after year. That's what the Raiders did for years. And how did that help them? It didn't.
All right.
Yeah, big time.
It's so hard. I mean, you see that we've been watching sports for a long time, and we're kind of like, and I'm like, I hope he's not like a mascot. You know what I mean?
Right.
New
exactly.
head, young black coach, blah, blah, blah. And I'm hoping that they really, and the league need the Texans. Let me tell you, the league need the Texans to do well because all that bad publicity, right? That everybody seemed like they've kind of moved on. It's not being brought up anymore. You know what I'm saying? JJ's retired. Hopkins, it's Hopkins, right? Hopkins is doing his thing in with the Cardinals, and Deshaun is up in Cleveland. Everything's moving forward. So now it's like that. Even that division is horrible. Remember last time we did the previews, and the guy was like, "I guess you're saying this is the worst division in the league." I was trying not to. You know what I mean? I really was. The Colts, Tennessee is having issues with their quarterback issues. The Jags made it, which I know they're probably going to do better. So really, man, if you can, it's not as hard as you think. If you just put some stuff together, it's not as hard as you think to turn around, and maybe you might even be able to win a division. Get you a quarterback. Definitely, I think they need a line. They need everything, but still, you know what I mean? All you could do is go up. You're the Texans. Think positive. Like, man, look, all we got to do is take one step at a time. You know what I mean? But I'm happy for him. I'm just hoping that he's not a mascot to get everybody excited. You know what I mean? But I do feel like the league need the Texans to be a better franchise than what they've been.
Yeah. I love this move. I think this is one of those where, obviously you getting the guy, especially Houston's pretty much their calling card is defense. So
right.
I definitely like what he's going to bring to that table. You look at I think someone who will definitely benefit like Darryl Stingley Jr. I think he'll be, because we always talk about the LSU guys, even offensive and defensively. Sometimes he's got lost in that, but I think he'll get him back into shape. And I think with the 6 years, like you said, I think it's just more so. I think it's going. I hope it, like you said. I hope they do give him stability, because, like you said, and I didn't think hiring, David Culley at the time was 65. I think Love is like 62. I just didn't think they were the right coaches anyway, especially if you're trying to do a long-term rebuild type situation like this. They weren't a part of it. So, and I definitely think this is going to be right in the right direction. I think they really realize like Davis Mills is not QB1. So I think, once they get a quarterback, I'm curious. I'm interested in how his staff is going to be. So as far as who could be his offensive coordinator, you think it probably is going to be a Bryce Young, CJ Stroud is probably going to be their quarterback potentially, or Will Levis. He's the flavor of the month compared to with your boy Mel Kiper. He's always the flavor of the draft.
Right.
is Will Levis. But you got to look at this Texans team. Even though on the surface you look at they were like 3-14 or what have you. No, they was 3-13-1. That's right. They were 3-13-1.
Close enough to 3-14. I mean, really.
Right. Right. I forgot they did tie in first week of the season, so that was wild. But you think about it, they went toe to toe with some teams that actually, and you think about it, they went toe to the two teams that are going to be playing next Sunday. Obviously, they forced the Chiefs into overtime right before Christmas.
Probably should have won that game.
They should have, and they really should have. That was the what's his face? Who was there? Forgot who got it that had that pass. I forgot, but anyway, obviously, in that Thursday night game against the Eagles, they had a legitimate shot in that game until Philly kind of turned it on and almost beat Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So then obviously they did beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, who as a playoff team. So yeah, I definitely think this is the move that they should have done years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I love this hire.
But you go back, they had a lot of issues. Did they coach? It started with their coach. I mean, I'm talking about when JJ and all them. There was just a lot of weird stuff that happened probably the last 5 years. You know what I mean? And then the last two coaches they had, we knew they were just pulling out just a name out the hat to like calm people down. You know what I mean? Just like the Levy Smith, we was like, why would you for what? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right. I mean, their best, head coach in the last 5-6 years was actually Bill O'Brien.
Right.
Then when they became GM-less, that's when everything hit the fan.
Right. I think Bill O'Brien was the one that made all those moves.
He made all the moves. And I'm just like, that's why you playing calls. That's why you calling plays in New England now.
Mm-hmm.
You bought on yourself. But I definitely think this is going to be a team, and I think they're going to give him some time. I went down a rabbit hole one night watching something, and it was like, who will be the next coach of Alabama once Nick Saban retires? Why they said D'Amico Ryan? I'm like, man, he gonna be in Houston. Stop. Let's not call what they always say. Don't let's not go too far. Let's just stay in the moment.
I'm not sure why you would want to go from the NFL to college unless you're Pete Carroll, who's trying to redo everything and learn to coach again.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's like that's. But I don't know. I was like, when I heard that, like, man, let's just hope this Houston thing be successful before we even finish.
I think that's probably why they gave him that 6 year too, because when you look at it, how he came up and how he went from quality control to inside linebacker coach and then to defensive coordinator. Like, he took every year he was being elevated, so it's got to be something. It's something special about him. It's the same with the next guy we're going to talk about. You know what I mean? Like when you really, because I didn't like the next guy, but when I looked, I was like, well, damn, he seemed like to me he was doing this thing. You know what I mean? It was something about him.
Yeah. And plus, and the good thing of what D'Amico Ryan is he's young. So that's a good thing too, where, hey, this is a good hire for them.
It just seemed like the league is going that way anyway. It seemed like these younger guys, they're like, we need to grow with our coaches. There's a lot of coaches now, like Sean McVay, Tomlin, all these guys. It's like, why are y'all firing all these? You know what I'm saying? Why are y'all doing that? You know what I mean? Like, you want to keep, like, even Harbaugh in with the Ravens. Like, why do y'all keep want to fire coaches? Like, we lose something, we may not make the playoff, but we need to just get a few pieces. I don't understand that.
Yeah, and it's a youth moment, and that's enough. Well, great segue with it, where Kellen Moore. So now Kellen Moore is going to be the new offensive coordinator for the LA Chargers, and it's funny because obviously they announced Saturday that he was going to be let go of his duties, and then for some odd reason, while we went to bed, we woke up the next morning. It felt like it,
Right.
and he became the offensive coordinator with the Chargers. So obviously, Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys for 4 years, and they did rank top 4 in its few categories in points per game, yards per game, and third down percentage. So, Jordan, your thoughts on Kellen Moore going to one of your bitter rivals, the LA Chargers?
I know, right? I mean, it's the AFC West, but the thing is you look at Kellen Moore. He had success with the Dallas Cowboys. I guess McCarthy thinks he can actually run an offense. I guess it'll be interesting to see what he can do in Dallas. But as for Kellen Moore going to the LA Chargers, I think this is a great move for him. What they were really missing is a guy that can actually develop Justin Herbert. And we saw what Moore was able to do with Dak Prescott. Obviously, Couch Coach knows he's one of the better quarterbacks in his division with Dak Prescott. But I think, honestly, though, it's going to definitely help Justin Herbert make better decisions. We saw the whole, how they lost against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the thing is they probably looked at it and say, we need to have Justin Herbert throw it more. So what do? They went out and got Kellen Moore, who, by the way, knows how to call an offense. So I think it's a great move all around. It just makes the Broncos division a little bit harder, unfortunately.
Yeah. Mal, your thoughts?
For me, man, like I said, I didn't like Kellen until I started seeing his stats. And I thought that he was the reason. I'm blaming him for everything that's going on with Dak. But then when I looked at his stats and I was like, no, and then I'm hearing everybody talk and I'm like, I think you can see how great he really was when Cooper Rush was behind the center. And I think that gave you everything that you need to know. You know what I mean? And this success from Garrett and Mike McCarthy, he was the one. You know what I mean? I think it's weird because I almost was like, damn, if he might have been older, had more experience, they might have gave him the head coach. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But he needs to get a little more experience. Then I was sitting here thinking to myself, Justin Herbert, the coach has loved him from the time he's got in the league, and everybody likes him, and nobody really talks about him like it's always talk with potential. You know what I mean? And with all these young quarterbacks that was in this playoff, Tom Brady just retired. Aaron Rodgers might as well go too. You know what I'm saying? Ben's gone. All these guys are gone. It's about these young quarterbacks. And now he get this offensive coordinator. They finally starting to put things around Hubert because I think they got the coach. Y'all give a thumbs up on the coach? I
think Staley isn't a bad coach.
All right. Yeah. So, and having him, and then the beautiful thing is too, is that, Staley, from what I'm hearing, is a defensive coach, right?
Correct.
Right. And so it's going to give, Kellen Moore he's going to be able to control things a little bit more. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great move. Congrats to him. I apologize for all the negative energy I was giving you, Kellen, because I was definitely blaming you. You know what I mean? Yeah. But man, I'm happy for him, man. That's what's up. It seemed like, and then shout out to Jerry also, man, because Jerry Jones, it seemed like to me, he ain't try to hold him. He was like, man, go ahead, do your thing. You know what I mean? That's what's up.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely like the Kellen Moore move. And that's where you just look at it just from the standpoint of, and they looked at him as kind of like that next offensive guru. He's going to be the next guy. So I think they'll need him definitely from the simple fact of trying to establish that run game. I think that's another thing that they need to do as well. So I think that's another thing that kind of gets a little bit lost in all this in a sense. But I love the move. Obviously, with Justin Herbert, this is going to be an opportunity for Kellen Moore to shine. This is going to be an opportunity where, I wouldn't be surprised this time next year, that we'll be talking about him as being a coach being hired and then, him being a head coach in the league next year, because he almost got the Carolina job.
Oh, really?
He interviewed for the Carolina job, but our boy Frank Wright got it.
which I still don't understand that move.
I mean, that's the Teppers. That's what they
Another
do stuff like
organization
that.
don't know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know. That's another one where that's two head coaches in their tenure as the owners with them, obviously with Matt Rule. But that's another one where I definitely thought Steve Wilkes was gonna get that job.
I think everyone thought that.
Because I thought they were gonna be when they started, I'm like, they ended up being like 6-6. And I'm like, y'all know he ain't had no quarterback, right? I mean, he had, obviously a carousel quarterbacks of Baker and
Darnold.
and Donald. And did
Donald,
PJ Walker played a little bit.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
He led PJ Walker, so it's just like I don't know. But
New
but
ownership,
yeah,
right? It's new owner.
Nah.
You sure? I could have thought I thought they sold the team a few years back. When your coach
3 years ago. Yeah, Ron
3 years
Rivera.
ago.
3 years ago, yeah. Because that's they fired Ron Rivera for Matt Rule.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like
Rivera
the people,
or Rule? I would go with Matt. No, I'm kidding. I would go with Rivera.
I don't know. I love Ron.
I'm just saying behind the scenes, they probably really just don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at something right now saying Matt Rule is suing them for $5 million.
There's something fishy going on.
Something fishy going on, with their, yeah. But it's weird because I mean I can see it because look at just like because I mean he's owed a lot of money left. I mean because that was God. I forgot how many years he got, and it's like
it was like 6, 7, or 8
it
years.
Was 6.
It was
and
6.
I think
it was 6,
and they still owed him like 4. I think it was still some years, man.
And now he's in Nebraska.
Exactly.
Right. And I would look that up, and it was guaranteed money.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed contract. Yep. Yeah.
So when you say guarantee, you mean we have to pay him even though he's not working for us?
You would
think.
Who
signed that deal?
You would think that's how that works.
And that's what right. And they're trying to crack down on that because remember they had something I forgot it was an article that was posted. I think it was on Yahoo Sports where they're spending all these money on dead contracts.
And you talking about just in general or the Panthers?
Oh no, in general the league. Like as far as still having to pay people that you fired. Like, what they call like dead money in a sense.
Right. I mean, don't sign them then. You know what I mean? The negotiation, I'm not signing up, then okay, you out. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
either that or not sign. Don't sign these guys to long contracts.
Right.
But they got that's the thing. They smart though. They that's one thing they got a union behind them. That's
true.
They got somebody that say, "Hey, we're gonna get as much money as we can," like because this is a shaky business. So kudos to them.
Because Amazon paying them a lot of money. It's that horror show of a show on Thursday.
I can't even watch it. You can't even watch it. How many bad games did we have to sit through?
That's so wrong, man. I don't know why they do that. Why would they do that when they paid you all that money? Hey, man, let's just go ahead and give them
I know. And it's like I think it's just a Thursday night product itself, and it's just because these on surface they should have been good games. I know, like when we played the best, like this is by far the worst game I've ever seen us play. Like
you made the Colts versus us look good.
Right, it was right. No, everybody stopped because y'all played the week before us.
Right, and it was 9-6 or something.
Right, and then we won like 6-12.
So I mean, for a while there, it made our game look good.
I know.
It's funny too because people be like, "Man, it's a game on, but it's on Amazon Prime."
But I still was excited for it though. For some bizarre reason,
it's just new. It'll
let
get
me
better.
down. Every week, I still was like, "Oh, I want to see this," because I don't know. But something about that, I don't know. It's weird because it's such a different experience. Because I'm already like at 6:59, I'm ready to hit. Like when they tell you they're going live, I'm there. Like But it's weird though. I mean, it is deceptive, but I mean, I still enjoyed it. I mean,
Well, it's football. I mean, what's not to enjoy except for the game for pretty bad.
Right.
Hope they do better next season, man.
They need better matchups for sure.
Yeah, it's really that. I mean, they got to be what's once a month. Like, give us something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's more so of just the short rest, and I think that's the thing because remember, I don't know if you remember when CBS, I think when they started doing it full time, with like 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Remember they was like sandwiching all these like divisional games. They ended up being trash.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that because I know we played the Giants. They beat us by like 30 at home. That was the same year. I think. Remember when Devin Hester broke the record or something like that?
Oh yeah.
And I think they played like Tampa Bay or one of them teams, and they destroyed somebody. It's something about those, and it's crazy because usually those divisional games never be that bad. Because I think that's what their biggest selling point was. Hey, we're going to have divisional matchups, and then they were bad. I think it's just the fact that these teams are playing on such a short rest. Because think about it.
There is something to that, Coach.
Because
you think so?
Yeah, because you think about it. If you playing on a Sunday, right? So you Sundays you done. Like as far as even if you work at, I mean, you said work, Lord. If you play at 1 or 4 o'clock, whatever time zone, you're done for that day. Monday, Tuesday, and God forbid if you're on a road, you got to travel Wednesday.
I've even heard from who was it? Ryan Harris, who used to work for a station in Denver, and he said, after a Sunday game, you really don't feel good until about Wednesday. And then of course
that makes sense.
Then you have to play again.
Yeah. And that was Ryan Harris. He used to play for y'all, the old lineman.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember he used to be on a show called MTV True Life or something like that back in the day. I forgot what it was. I think True Life, I'm an athlete or something like that. Shout out to Ryan Harris. Yeah.
How would y'all feel if they put the foreign game, like the international game, on Amazon Prime?
I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't. Because do they even show that game?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I know the Broncos game in Jacksonville was on ESPN Plus. Lots of people don't get ESPN Plus. At least Amazon Prime, more people get it. So it would make more sense to do that.
And then the one in Germany, Tampa Bay and Seattle, that was on the NFL Network.
Again, a lot of people can't get that.
Right.
Yeah, because the packages, the packages don't have it.
I don't think none of those 9:00 games were on network television.
I don't believe so. I think you're right, Coach.
Because I know when the Packers played the Giants, I don't think that was on any. Well, I think it was on like Paramount or something like that. It was something weird. It was on the app. It was on a streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot which one it was, but I think it might have been like Paramount or something like that. Because I don't think it came on regular like television.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't even know that they showed it on TV because I was like, damn. I mean, doing this show, and I'm like, damn, they played already. You know what I mean? And I just have the internet, so I stream. You know what I mean? And so I get certain games. I was like, well, dang, I didn't know because I'm off on Sunday. I'm like, well, I could have been watching those games. When did they come up? You know what I mean? And they already. I'm like, well, that's weird.
Well, even the time difference is different because I know the Broncos kicked off against Jacksonville at 7 a.m. Mountain Time or 9 a.m. Eastern. I had to get up for that game. Just like, this is not a normal Sunday. Put it on 11. That's all I care about.
Right. I know. That's why I hate like every time when I see like the international, I like please. Roger Goodell, don't bring us back to either London, Mexico, or Germany, please.
I was really upset when I saw the schedule. I'm like, oh, we got to play in London? Really?
Right, because it's just like it throws you off. Because but I couldn't imagine 7 o'clock. I know like 9:30. I'm like, like really? We got to play at 9:30. Yeah.
It was tough, but I got up for it, and at least they won.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what I would have done if they would have lost. It would have been like, why did I get up for this?
Imagine if it's a tie.
Oh, right. That would even be worse.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That was the worst. Like I couldn't take it that day. I was insufferable. I was like, no. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that sucked. But, I was like, please don't ever. I was like, every time I see the international games, I'm like, all right, please don't let us be on there, please.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It'd probably be better if it's on Amazon Prime. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I agree with you, Maui.
I mean,
Yeah,
I just think that it probably would be better. Just thinking out loud, you know.
yeah, but I think they gotta do something with it Thursday night. But when we talk about something that can be saved, something salvageable, something that just needs to be extinct. Like this needs to be like the dinosaur of the National Football League. And this is no shade to Talon Huntley, but we just gotta keep driving this point of this Pro Bowls need to be extinct. It needs to be like a dinosaur. It needs to be like a Jurassic Park. Like so. And we talked about it earlier where we talked about a Ravens quarterback making the Pro Bowl and we want Lamar Jackson. So you got to think to yourself, okay, who are we talking about? Obviously, Brett Huntley. It was named to the Pro Bowl games that's coming up this Sunday. So he replaces Josh Allen. Now, his stats line was, so he started in 4 games and he only had 2 touchdowns. So he's the first ever quarterback in the Super Bowl merger to have fewer stats and make it to the Pro Bowl. Now, follow me with this one. So the original lineup was Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa. All of them out. Obviously, we know, Mahomes will be on his way to Arizona for the Super Bowl. Then the alternates was going to be Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. They're all not there.
Yeah.
So now we're going to have Trevor Lawrence, Derek Carr that need to be in bubble wrap, which is like the ultimate FU to the Raiders. And then you got Tyler Huntley. Jordan, what the hell is going on with this Pro Bowl?
It almost sounds like who doesn't belong game.
Right.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I agree with you. The Pro Bowl should just be extinct at least. I mean, you can vote and just say, okay, this would have been your Pro Bowlers because it's in their contract that they, get extra money if they go, but why have it? I mean, I do like, other All-Star games, the NHL, the NBA All-Star Saturday night is awesome. Major League Baseball has a home run derby. NHL, they fixed their All-Star game up. I used to, when I was younger, I was like, oh, I like the Pro Bowl. I don't know why. Now I'm just like, it's just on. Exactly, Maui. That's the exact reaction you should have. It's just like, it's just on. I'm not going to watch. But I know in these contracts, they have incentives if you make the Pro Bowl. At this point, just let it go. If you're going to have Tyler Huntley, that 2 touchdown passes, and by the way, he played, I think one of them was against the Broncos to win the game. How is he in the Pro Bowl over everyone else? I don't understand it. Don't get it.
It's weird. Mal, your thoughts on this?
Man, the NFL Pro Bowl is the slam dunk, the NBA slam dunk contest. You know what I mean? It used to be something, but it's really to the point now. It's not where it used to be. And then the best dunkers is not even in the slam dunk. You know what I mean? And I'm not even mad at him. I mean, congratulations to Tyler, man. You know what I mean? Like, congratulations, man. I hope you have a good time. I know you're going to value being there, but yeah, man, who's watching the Pro Bowl? Dude? Like,
yeah,
I would like to see what their numbers are, their ratings are.
Yeah, and this is where I'm like, and I'm telling you, so I really need to convey this point. So, like, the best Pro Bowl ever was in 2009. That was I think it might have been 2010. It was the year when the Saints and the Colts played in the Super Bowl. Oh, you might remember this, Jordan. Remember, like, because that was the year the Miami Super Bowl, and then the Pro Bowl in Miami.
Right. Yeah.
And then what ended up happening, it felt like a heavyweight fight because then you had they both arrived at the same time, and then Peyton Manning and Drew Brees came together like I don't know, it was like at halftime or something like that, or the beginning of the game. Like that would be perfect. Like this definitely would have worked this year when you had Patrick Mahomes on one side and then Jalen Hurts on the other. They almost kind of kick off, the start of a good week. But like you said, and I think, like you said, you should get the recognition. I almost like, I don't know if you play Madden, but like I don't know if it is in the current year. But they'll tell you who made the Pro Bowl, and it's just like a list. So then you don't have to worry about these alternates because, like you said, hell, if Derek Carr gets hurt, or Tyler Huntley, hell, we gonna be the quarterback Sunday,
right? I may not be very mobile, but yeah,
hell, like. Right. Well, it's a flag football, so we'll
be all right.
Good. Like, just grab my flag. I mean, hey, play over.
Although that would be, a bucket list experience to play with NFL players.
Right. It's weird because we was having a discussion a few years ago about what should they even do with the Pro Bowl. We couldn't even really like figure it out, like what would make it be entertaining, because you really don't want them to hit one another, especially you got one of the best, your quarterback is your quarterback, and he's one of the best. If he get hurt, then you know what I'm saying, your season is over with.
Derek Carr. If Derek Carr gets hurt, oh my God, like
there goes his trade value too.
Vegas.
Right, like that's another thing, and which I think that's why a lot of them aren't there. You know what I mean?
I do not want to see the look on Mark David's face if that man get hurt Sunday. Oh my God! Like, I want to be a fly in the wall if that happened. Like, oh my God! And that's the thing where, and then like you even see like how he was being a little pissed. Like, oh, my invitation came late in the mail, and I like, oh wow, that's like, think about it. Derek Carr playing in the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas, and one of something happened, like you said, I don't want to wish no injury on him or nothing, but wouldn't that be? Oh my God,
that'd be crazy.
That'd be a one hell of a story to start Super Bowl week. My goodness.
I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's like every sport has it, but I don't know what to do to make it better. Like, it's weird. I don't know that people can be safe, or I don't know what to do.
And a part of me, I low key didn't like how they moved it to the week before the Super Bowl.
Right.
I didn't like that either, though. It's almost like I kind of wanted it to be the last game of the last thing, of the season, essentially, last game of the, But I don't know, like you can't salvage them. I don't know, maybe because of the Hawaii thing was cool, but
yeah,
that's the only thing I can think of that I really liked the Pro Bowl back in the day. Because I mean,
I don't know. Like, I was trying to be creative. Like, maybe they can have that ain't gonna work. Maybe they could. I don't know. Like,
it's the only one you can't figure out what to do with it. It's a problem.
Yeah,
it's like it should be all. It's almost like, man, they should be alternates. It should be like, okay, you're gonna go, you can't go. Maybe they could pick the person. I don't know, man. It's weird. Like,
then the thing about that is, you think about it, it's like 9 quarterbacks essentially that made the Pro Bowl in the AFC.
That's way too
half
many.
The team. That's half the quarter. Hell, half the quarterbacks and the backup of one of those two quarterbacks from one team made the Pro Bowl. 2 of them. Like, that's crazy. Like,
that's crazy.
That's 9 people who could call themselves a Pro Bowler out of 16 teams in the AFC.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Then, like, if you envy, do they even brag about being the MVP of the Pro Bowl or something?
I don't think so. I don't even know what they get. I don't even know what they get.
I don't even remember who was last year's MVP.
You got 3 TDs. What does he get? Oh, he has a free cruise to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know. Because I mean, if you Super Bowl MVP, you get a car.
Right.
So who knows what you get?
The thing about all-star is the other stuff. Like, when I've never watched really, because say I watched the Major League Baseball All-Star game, But what I did watch was the home run derby. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I mean,
I did
that's.
watch that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that's what stands out.
I mean, I'll even watch, All Star Saturday Night. I mean, granted,
yeah,
in the NBA, even though that the dunk contests, as we have,
Right.
like you said, have gone downhill, but the 3-point contest, they always
Right.
have the
yeah,
sharpshooters.
Right.
yeah.
Or even the
And they,
Friday,
mhm,
the rookie versus the sophomore game.
That's
You know what I
always fun.
mean?
yeah,
It's always just fun
it's
to watch,
always fun.
especially if they got some big names in it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah. It's odd, and I think and they kind of spiced up a little bit last year with those other like competitions. Because I know like
yeah,
Stephon Diggs and Trayvon Diggs did like a drill or something like that.
I didn't even watch those. I didn't even know they were happening.
It was
and
yeah, I know, and
that's
that's
what they
another
should
thing.
focus on.
And I guarantee he's probably on now or part of tomorrow. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be a part of Saturday experience or I mean Sunday because last year they had the actual game, but
Hmm.
now it's gonna be like a flag. So I don't know if they say the Pro Bowl game. So I'm thinking all that's gonna happen Saturday. I mean Sunday.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I think this situation is it's you can't do much about it.
I think they should focus on that. They should promote that, like you just said, they was doing like just activities with different
Yeah,
like oh man, think about it. If they had it like a drill um catching the ball or like how they be having highlights of like Chad Ochocinco versus a Deion Sanders. You know what I'm saying? And they just you know what I mean? Like I'm just saying in general, like something like that where not those two, but like a corner or a safety versus this receiver, and you know what I'm saying, and then promote it is a lot of trash talking, a lot of entertainment. Those
Right.
those type of things will be exciting because you know what I'm saying. It's those things. It brings us in because the stuff that we don't really hear, and I
yeah,
think they should focus on things like that, like routes, receivers, uh, doing something with the running back, blocking some, just like different. Help me out, fellas. Like different.
yeah. I know, like would be a good one. Is like who's the fastest person in the NFL? Like Tariq, like
Right,
Right.
Tariq Hill go
right,
against somebody, or
right,
you know, yeah,
and and then it's just and then but promote it. That I think that's better than having, and that could be during Super Bowl week. That's something added onto it that we could watch. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I want to see this because what's the name? Then was talk crazy on Twitter. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
things of that
yeah,
that'd excite us even more. But man, like they gotta let that go.
yeah. Which that's yeah, that's what like it'd be perfect for that Sunday, like to have that event like on a Sunday because at the Monday it's we talking ball the whole week.
Right, right, right,
And
right, right, right,
yeah,
right, right.
we talking ball the whole week. That's gonna be crazy. But yeah. So let's see. Oh, did I? So we are, a week away from Super Bowl 57 in Arizona. So we'll probably get into it more like next week as far as X and O's and all that. But this week, more so just some early Super Bowl storylines that kind of got your attention thus far. Jordan, what you got? What's your early Super Bowl storylines that you're looking at?
I'm looking at both offenses. To me, they're mirror images of each other. What do I mean by that? They
Yeah,
love to control the clock. Patrick Mahomes, we know what he can do when he's outside the pocket. He can run, he can pass, he can, find his open receivers. They love to control the clock. On the other side, you have Jalen Hurts and that offense that you don't know if they're going to run or pass it, but either way, they like to control the clock. So really for me
right.
is if you look at this game, I'm going to do a deeper dive probably on my show under review on who I think is going to win, but I definitely look at these offenses just to control the clock because that'll actually shorten the game for that whichever team has the ball more.
Yeah. You got Maui?
Well, I'm gonna do the obvious, man. To have two African American quarterbacks in the Super Bowl is a big thing. I'm not gonna dive in it, but that was just one of the storylines that kind of hit me. It was a lot of guys really crying and was talking about how, African American quarterbacks they would be dominant, and then they would tell them, no, you can't be a quarterback in the league. So I'm looking at that. Definitely the Kelsey brothers, I guess you could say. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't know they had a podcast, and I'm definitely gonna watch it because they silly. Did you see his brother dance, the one for the Eagles?
Yeah.
Yo,
At least that mother can't lose. He's got
Yeah, right. Oh,
Right.
Jason. Oh, yeah.
Right.
No,
I didn't want to. And then, basically what Jordan said, I feel like the Eagles is basically the newer version of the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have been done so well, and what happens is players leave, players get hurt, players retire, all these different things, and I feel like they're in some type of way rebuilding, but definitely old versus new. You know what I mean? And I do think they're definitely identical, and I feel like the Chiefs are the blueprint of where the NFL is going. You know what I mean? And I think the Eagles might be actually the first team that's mimicking them in some type of way. So my question is, does the Eagles head coach, was he under the Chiefs coach, Andy Reid?
kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was retained by Romeo. Well, first he got hired by Todd Haley,
Okay.
and then Romeo Cornell, and then when Big Red came, he fired Nick. So yeah,
Okay.
he
Okay.
fired Nick. Yeah, he fired
And-
Nick Sirianni. Yep.
And definitely Andy Reid coming home and going up against his old team. The team that he got to the Super Bowl, but he couldn't win. You know what I mean? So those are my storylines. That's about it.
Yeah, my first ones was trading places where essentially Andy Reid got fired and then then he ended up firing Nick Sirianni on that one.
Okay.
And just kind of one of those where just like, and this is just like Andy Reid, where it's like this is I can consider this as a potentially a defining moment for him because now he could be a rare air. Now when you have 2 Super Bowls, he'll join an exclusive club, winning more than one Super Bowl. Especially going against this team, and it's weird. And I wish I would have took note of this TikTok creator, but she said it perfectly. This Eagle team is almost the mirror image of the 2017 Eagles team, and it's really when she made the parallels, it was scary. Obviously, Doug Peterson was in his second year. Just some notable thoughts there. Then, essentially going against a team like New England Patriots. Not saying that Kansas City is like a dynastic type of, but they've been running the AFC for the last 5 years. We'll just put it that way. So they've been dominant in their conference, and they're going against a squad like a Patriot-esque type of team going against, and then the inexperience factor of Nick Sirianni going against a guy like a Andy Reid who's been around the block. So this is gonna be definitely a good game. Definitely can't wait to kind of like sink our teeth into individual matchups and just all the trappings that it is that Super Bowl week encompass. But they're gonna have a good one in Arizona.
I think so too, man. It's been, like I said, the playoffs was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Playoffs was good. It was teams that got blown out, but they was kind of horrible the whole, you know what I mean? The whole year, but you cannot complain about football this season, man.
Yeah, it was good.
I can't complain. Like we've talked about earlier, you had all these teams in a playoff hunt and that until the last week. So, it's going to be hopefully a good game to end. I agree with Maui. I kind of want, maybe even a game-winning drive field goal to win a game. That'd be great.
Man, y'all know the Chiefs gonna lose, but it's all good.
I really hope you're right.
Well,
they were supposed to win. They were supposed to lose the last game. And the young team.
All I gotta say is Big Red. Pull up that tape from November 14th. We gave y'all the recipe. Big Red. Just follow.
Oh my God! See what I'm saying? George? You see what I'm saying?
I'm just saying,
hey, he wants his rival to lose. I want the Chiefs to lose. So
in a weird way, I don't. But I'm just saying, hey, I don't know. I don't know. I got a root interest with the Eagles. It's a. I know a few guys on the Eagles that I'm rooting for, but I mean, hey, Big Red. If you, I mean, I'm just saying, don't look no further. November
I'm gonna
14th.
say this. I'm gonna tell you, if the Eagles don't lose, to me, it's because we were talking about this through the preview. There was a bunch of teams that basically they put money out there and they loaded the teams up, and the Eagles was one of those ones we said could be dominated. A lot of those teams failed. A lot of those teams failed. And then what's weird? Like the 49ers, same issue because they had quarterback issues in the beginning of the season. Well, at the end of the season, what was the issue? And have no quarterback, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it was so weird. I'm like, wow, they ain't got no quarterback. So
yeah, because Brock got hurt on the first possession. Well, it was the first play, wasn't
damn near.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
damn
then
near.
the
Yeah,
second Johnson had a concussion. They had
yeah.
no quarterback. And then you sit back and you like, damn, we had all these issues in the beginning of the year. Maybe we would have took Jimmy G and got some things. You know what I mean? Maybe things would have been a
Right.
little
And
different.
thank God they traded for Chris McCaffrey because Lord knows who would have been their single thrower.
Right.
Like who? Like that's what I'm saying, man. All right, Cal Shanahan would have been out there throwing the football.
Right.
My goodness, yeah, and it's like, and that's another thing too. You think to yourself like, this man Josh Johnson will start in the NFC Championship game. I mean, start but playing in the NFC Championship game.
And he started with Denver on the practice squad too.
And you know, so funny, right? And then he played with us with 2018, his first game in like 7 years. He won.
Yeah.
We beat
He,
Jacksonville.
he definitely was NFL groupie. I'm gonna tell you that. There was a bunch of teams used him up. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, hey, but
Like,
that
don't
is so, yeah.
live the dream, homie. You know.
He's that, he's just the system quarterback that people need. But yeah, you gotta think to yourself, like, God, like when I knew when Brock Purdy got hurt, I was like, yeah, this is it. Like
I
I was
knew it
like,
was coming. I knew it was coming. I was
That
like, man,
defense was fierce.
I
that
was like, they
defense came
blowing
out.
him up, man. They keep blowing him up. And I'm like, man, it's coming. You know what I mean?
I know. I was like, dang, I like, because that's why, and that was funny because I was thinking Jimmy G was gonna come back for the NFC Championship, and I like that's not good, like, because just in case something happens, you need that kind of that backup.
And that's what I
But
didn't
that's not,
understand. That's what I understand. Like, why would you not? He know he's a rookie and he's playing well, but why would you not go and get a third quarterback? Like, why would you
it
put
was too
all of that on
late,
them?
though.
I don't know.
Because you think about it, kind of, and plus it was kind of like who would have been available. It was, I mean, because remember he got hurt like what right after Thanksgiving,
Right.
so
Man, you
it's
can
kind of
always do
like,
it. You always could do it, man. I mean, it
yeah,
ain't. I
like,
mean, it may be a stretch, but you got to come on, man. You know you
but,
can't just.
but I mean, yeah, the Brock Purdy situation worked out for him though, and
It
I
did.
think that's why. But that's why I think that's why they didn't really. That's why they probably sound like a Josh Johnson because it's like it's. I mean, I mean, it's like that's a Hail Mary. Like, I mean, you know, get a quarterback that late in the year, it's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be rough, but hey, man, you know how weird they look not having one out there.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
They
but
looked
I
real
mean,
like they would just hand off, and I know they was like. Then he
yeah,
tried to throw down the field, and it's like
There's no way he could.
right.
right.
But I think that just go that. But to me, it's more so it just speaks to how good their quarterback room is. Because I think you think about it, if most teams that downstate 4-string quarterback, they're not gonna win football games, much less win an NFC Championship game.
I just
It's
know if
like,
it's me, I know he was a young quarterback. He did well. I know you got Johnson, but Johnson is a floater. You know what I mean? And then when
yeah,
you're dealing with concussions, and I do believe after that game, because I don't think anybody saw that, but you got to understand one good tackle because it wasn't. He didn't say that anything was wrong with him. It was um, the announcer said something about it, and then they came because he hit his head. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then he might have still been able to play. Back in the day, he probably would have still played. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So
yeah.
that's what I think that I think they just gonna learn from their mistakes. Say, hey man, we got to make sure regardless We at least get somebody to be able to throw. And then remember we talked years ago. I said we got all these coordinators. Okay, just in case this quarterback that comes in, what does he do? Does he do run and gun and blah blah blah? I have enough. You talking about Kyle Shanahan too, so I'm sure he was like, I know exactly what to give to him to bring the best out of him. You know what I mean? But anyway,
yeah, and still you still think how impressive that he had 3 good quarterbacks. I mean, it's just that, and that's another thing. They're in such a best position. I'm saying yourself, you got 2 quarterbacks on a rookie deal, so it's like, and then it's crazy because now I know people are gonna look at Brock Purdy, so it's gonna be kind of or Trey Lance. Like they can get something out of that. Like I think even in the small sample size that both of these guys have had, they're you get an asset for that. Like, and they're in such a good position. Like could you just imagine having 2 good quarterbacks on a rookie deal? It's hard to find one.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, they're in good shape.
Right.
But yeah, Super Bowl 57 is definitely gonna be. I think it's definitely gonna be a great game, and definitely looking forward to doing more of a deeper dive next week as that continue. So we're gonna put a bow on tonight's show tonight, fellas. We'll give out game balls this week.
Yes.
Who's a game ball this week for you, Jordan?
I'm giving it to Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker, who went 3 for 3 the game against the Bengals. Of course, he nailed the 45-yard field goal to send him to the Super Bowl. Of course, if he misses that, we're going into overtime. I mean, there was a little bit of, bad refereeing in that game. But you know what? In the end, though, Chiefs deserve it because Harrison Butker kicked that ball through the uprights. If that goes wide again, they're going to overtime, and it's anyone's game at that point.
Right.
All right. We got him out.
My game ball would go to Akron native by the name of LeBron James that against the Knicks passed Mark Jackson and Steve Nash to become 4th in assists. And he is 89 points away from being the greatest pointer or person to have points or the most points in NBA history. He's 89 points away. And it's like, wow. I'm a confess something. Me being born in 1978, my GOAT is actually Julius Erving. I don't know much about Kareem. I remember he did the hook, but mine was Dr. J. One of my favorite movies is The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. Might watch it when I get off the pod. I love LeBron because I am from Akron, and it's just cool to see being from that place to hear him say Akron and then watch his greatness as he's grown. And I know what Jordan is to the league and everything and culture and everything. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm really getting close to be perfectly saying that this boy is the GOAT because his name is going to be at the top of a lot of stats. And I really believe a lot of people, when we really talk about it, is looking like, wow, we're talking about actually the greatest player. And you start looking at stats and looking at stuff, and you're like, damn, he got championships, he got this, he got that. And it's okay. You can have your other GOATs, whatever, but you really got to start looking at him like he's actually the greatest because it's a lot of people. And this is what I'm saying. It's a lot of people that took advantage of their talent and being in a position that they were in. And he didn't. You know what I mean? He did everything from his wife, being there for his kids, being there for their controversy stuff. He gets blamed for everything. We know all of that. And he takes it on the chin. And he's still going. And it's not easy. That's one thing, too. People think that it was he took the easy path. It's not. So anyway, game ball goes to King James. Especially, I'm happy you did that because House Party was horrible. Just want to throw that out there.
I didn't even touch it. It's crazy because that's when it first came on that Friday, everybody said it was horrible. I'm like,
It
That's
wasn't
not.
that
That's
bad.
not.
It wasn't
That's
that
not.
bad.
I was like, that's
Mm.
not good. If I hear nobody say nothing positive about it, I'm like, oh.
No offense, but after like House, when once Kid and Play wasn't in the movies anymore, because it's like a House Party 4 and 5 also,
Yeah.
with Immature.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, and I forgot. I remember that, but then I kind of forgot about those movies. But yeah. So I gotta give my game ball. Actually, I know you talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. I gotta give a huge shout out to a Springer brethren,
Hmm.
Wallace. But not only just to essentially go to the Super Bowl this week, but it's to survive a slam from Trent Williams. Like that's right there. That made me like, oh gosh, like is he? I want to make sure he got up because that was a vicious slam that he got from Trent Williams, and it's so crazy to think Trent Williams has had a history of this. Obviously, 10 years ago, as when the Redskins lost to the Seattle Seahawks, he punched Richard Sherman in the face. After that loss, and almost 10 years to the day, which is kind of ironic. And then in this situation where there was a scrum with like 3 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, Trent Williams slammed down the former Springer legend and Kevon Wallace. And he lived to tell it. So, yeah, definitely giving him a game ball for that. And definitely one of the guys I'm definitely rooting for in this, if you're looking at it from a personal player standpoint, this is a guy I'm really rooting for in this game. So, and I use to root for him all the time, for the exception of when they play, Washington. But yeah. I mean, hey, it is what it is. That's what happens.
Right.
That's how it happens when you have a rivalry. And Jordan knows, and it's hey, do you show? I know it's hard for you to show love to Button, but we had to swallow our pride.
Right.
Yeah, and he shot out an eagle. Yeah, that came from the diaphragm. I mean, you have to get that from me that often. But yeah, so we'll put a ball on tonight's show. We're going around the horn, social media up in the upcoming things going on. I'm go with you first, Jordan. What you got?
Well, you can find me on social media at Sports Scoop One. I have a blog that I write Mondays through Thursdays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com. And I do have my own YouTube channel. It's called Under Review, which is my take on Colorado sports with national sports stories as well.
All right. Mallory, what you got?
Deshaun Morgan Facebook, DT Morgan 78 Instagram, hopefully Twitter, all the other stuff coming soon. Yeah, man, we're cool at.
I know, right?
He'll be on. I think we will have him on Thursday night.
That's gonna be fun.
We got him. Yeah,
I just felt like I just realized his team was going to Super Bowl. I can hear him. I'm telling you right now. The boy. I believe this was going.
I talked to him today. He's very excited. I'll tell you that.
I bet he is.
And doing a NFC East weekly show. Cool's my guy and all, but sometimes he can be insufferable.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, but it's all love though. You know what it is, especially with it. But yeah, as a matter of fact, he'll be a part of our Super Week coverage next week. So he's going to be Thursday. So we're still trying to iron that out for next Thursday.
Okay.
That'll be one of the live shows we'll have next week. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Under Couch Coach Live. Pretty much anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, we're there. And also, as you alluded to earlier, we'll do our Super Week coverage next week starting on Monday. I think we're going to have our Kansas City guy starting on Monday from the Red Kingdom podcast. Do that. A few other things going on for Super Week. And cool probably be, I think it's going to be Thursday. We haven't that we haven't etched it in stone, but it's engraved at this point. But so another great show. And Jordan, man, want to wish you some safe travels. Definitely looking forward to what you and Sideline Sports you guys will be doing next week in Arizona. Definitely extremely proud of you guys, of what you guys have done there. And just looking forward to seeing what you guys' coverage.
It'll be very interesting. I mean, I'm gonna rub elbows with Super Bowl champions, and who knows who celebrities too. So it'll be a fun experience.
I can imagine the spread, the food spread there.
That'll be interesting to see what we're gonna end up eating for the media too.
Yeah, because if they how they do it in Indianapolis, I think you're gonna love it. So, but once again, I definitely appreciate you, Jordan, for coming on tonight on Couch Coach Live, and once again, safe travels as you head to Arizona next week. And
thanks for having me. I'm always available for you, Couch Coach. And
appreciate you, man. Yeah. Appreciate
you guys for having me on.
Yeah. All right. And we'll catch you guys next week, man. This has been this week's Couch Coach Live. And we're out.
You're welcome.